Let me tell you something most people never realize: the universe doesn't repeat itself. When a message like this reaches you, it's not chance, it's a frequency lock. You've matched a signal that only appears once when your energy finally aligns with truth. This isn't another motivational clip, it's a mirror. What you feel in the next seconds will tell you everything about where you really are. The universe won't whisper this again, so breathe, stay here, and listen closely. Because what I'm about to share may never find you twice. Some messages from the universe are not sent twice. They vibrate once through the fabric of reality, waiting for the exact frequency that can hear them. If you're listening now, it means something and you finally matched that vibration. Maybe you don't even know why you clicked. Maybe it felt like a small pull, a quiet yes that your mind couldn't explain. That's how the universe calls. It never shouts, it just aligns. For years, you've been surrounded by noise, notifications, decisions, doubts, thoughts, repeating in perfect loops. You kept asking for a sign, but the signs were buried beneath the static of trying. The universe doesn't respond to effort, it responds to signal. Every time you questioned your timing, every time you wondered if you missed your chance, the energy was just sinking, not delayed, not denied, aligning. This message is that alignment meeting its mirror. Imagine radio waves filling a room, invisible, constant, unbothered by your attention. The moment you tune the dial, the sound appears. It was always there, waiting for your precision. That's how the universe works. The moment your frequency steadies, reality speaks back. But here's the twist: you don't find the signal. The signal finds you when you stop looking through noise. The call you almost missed was never far away. It was inside your quiet moments, those flashes where your body knew something before your thoughts caught up. The message isn't new, it's recognition. It's that subtle spark when something inside you says, "I've heard this before, but this time I understand." That's resonance, not learning, remembering. And that remembering carries a cost. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it. You can't pretend you don't know anymore. The universe communicates in mirrors, not words. It sends you people who reflect your own clarity, situations that press where you hide your power. Coincidences that repeat until you see the pattern. And when the pattern completes, the repetition stops. That's why some loops in your life have gone quiet recently. It's not failure, it's graduation. You no longer need the lesson, so the teacher dissolves. That silence you've been mistaking for absence, it's actually completion. It's the universe closing the file. But here's what most people miss: when the noise stops, they panic. They think the magic left. In truth, that stillness is your proof. The vibration has stabilized. The call was received. Now you're in a new bandwidth, and everything from this point will match that signal. You can't force it, you can only stay attuned. Feel how your chest loosens when you stop demanding, how the air feels different when you trust the rhythm instead of chasing it. That's not coincidence, that's coherence. The universe doesn't reward effort. It rewards clarity, and clarity begins the moment you stop reaching and start receiving. So if this message feels strangely personal, it's because it is. You tuned yourself here without knowing. The call came, and this time you answered. And what happens when the universe confirms you're finally listening? That's what we uncover next. The universe doesn't talk in language, it speaks in rhythm. Patterns, echoes, alignments, déjà vu, all tiny ripples of energy, translating vibration into form. You call them coincidences because you've been trained to think in cause and effect. But the universe thinks in resonance. It doesn't ask what happened first. It asks what matches now. When you start seeing the same numbers, names, places, or feelings looping through your days, it's not random repetition. It's calibration. The field around you keeps replaying what you haven't yet decoded. Every pattern is a messenger disguised as routine. When something keeps showing up, it's not haunting you, it's highlighting a frequency you're still carrying. The universe is a mirror so clean it will repeat until you finally see yourself without distortion. That's why the same emotion, the same type of person, the same lesson keeps returning under different costumes. It's not punishment, it's the system checking. Are you still reacting from the same place, or have you raised your signal? The moment you respond differently, the pattern dissolves. It has nothing left to teach. You've passed the frequency test. Think of it like a song stuck on repeat. It keeps looping until you learn the lyrics, until the sound no longer triggers confusion but recognition. Once you know the words, you no longer need to replay them. The lesson moves to muscle memory. That's what evolution feels like. Not an explosion, but a quiet graduation from confusion to clarity. But most people never notice it because they expect divine messages to look spectacular, flashes of light, thunder, miracles. The truth is more subtle. The universe prefers whispers over fireworks. It hides the sacred inside the ordinary. A delayed text, a sudden cancellation, a stranger's sentence that feels too precise, all small nudges redirecting your compass. You miss them when you're rushing, when your energy is scattered across fear and proving. But when your mind stills, the pattern becomes visible, like stars appearing only after night falls. Suddenly you see how every disappointment was choreography, how every wrong time was perfect pacing. The universe has never spoken in human vocabulary. It vibrates through timing, rhythm, density. It doesn't argue, it arranges. Every contrast in your life, the chaos, the calm, the loss, the surge, are notes in one melody, adjusting your frequency until you hum in tune with the next version of you. And that's why this message feels familiar even if you've never heard it. You've been living it. Each repeated moment was the universe writing subtitles for your soul, and now the translation finally makes sense. You're reading your own echo. The signs were never outside, they were projections of your inner current. When the pattern stops looping, it's not because the universe went silent. It's because you learned the sentence. And what comes next isn't more signs, but smoother motion. Life starts flowing without warnings because you've integrated the code. You can move without looking for permission. So next time you catch a pattern, the same name twice, the same phrase 3 times, the same feeling rising again, pause, breathe, ask. What am I being asked to notice, not to fix, not to chase, just to witness? Because the universe doesn't test, it teaches through rhythm. And once you understand the beat, you stop dancing to noise. You start conducting your own field. The patterns fade, not because they end, but because they've merged into you. And when the rhythm changes again, how will you know the next message is arriving? The answer hides in the silence right before it does. The pause that feels like nothing but births everything. That's where we're going next. Every transformation begins with silence. Not the comforting kind, but the heavy quiet that arrives after you've stopped fighting the old rhythm. It's the pause between breaths, the space where the next reality is assembling itself, molecule by molecule. Most people panic here. They think the universe went dark, that their prayers fell into static. But silence isn't the absence of guidance, it's the sound of recalibration. When your frequency changes, the signals that used to reach you can't find your new address. The old feedback loops fade because you've outgrown the system they belong to. That's why you suddenly lose interest in conversations that once consumed you, or people who once mirrored your chaos drift away. It's not rejection, it's resonance clearing itself. The silence is the universe's way of sweeping the room before the new guests arrive. And yet in that quiet, the human mind screams the loudest. It asks, what if I made a mistake? What if I'm lost? But you're not lost, you're being retuned. Think of an instrument after it's been played too long. The strings stretch, the sound distorts. To return to harmony, everything must be loosened first. That loosening feels like emptiness, like a void, but it's a sacred reset. The silence before the shift is where you meet yourself without distraction. It's where every external signal stops so you can hear your own frequency for the first time. You begin noticing subtle details, the weight of your breath, the taste of stillness, the feeling of your thoughts settling like dust in sunlight. This is not loneliness, it's alignment rehearsing. The universe trusts silence more than noise because silence cannot lie. It reveals what's left when everything false dissolves. The reason this moment feels so fragile is because you're standing in the threshold, the exact point where energy stops being potential and starts becoming form. It's like the stillness right before dawn when the world holds its breath, knowing light is inevitable but not yet visible. That's where you are. The universe isn't punishing your patience, it's protecting your precision. Too much movement too soon would distort the signal. You're learning to rest without retreating, to wait without wanting. The more you can sit in this quiet without rushing back to chaos, the faster clarity crystallizes. Because silence is a mirror and what you see in it determines what you create next. When you can stand in that mirror and feel peace instead of panic, you've mastered the pause that rewrites timelines. Most people quit right before the field stabilizes. They fill the silence with noise, desperate to feel movement. But the ones who stay, the ones who breathe through the stillness, witness something extraordinary. The air thickens with presence. Ideas start to form without force. A new rhythm hums under the skin. That's the sound of your future tuning in. So if everything feels slow, suspended, or eerily calm, don't fight it. You're not disconnected. You're syncing. This is the moment the old loop collapses for good and the new one begins building itself from light. Don't rush to label it. Don't panic in the pause. Listen deeper beneath thought, beneath noise. The universe is whispering the next instruction, but it won't shout. It's waiting for you to match its silence with trust. And when you can do that, the shift happens quietly, not as a spark, but as a soft hum of recognition. You'll know it not because something new appears, but because the old noise doesn't return. That's how the next signal arrives, not louder but clearer. And in that clarity, a new kind of momentum begins to move. Let's step into that next frequency together. Alignment never announces itself with fireworks. It slips in quietly like a breath you didn't realize you were holding until it releases on its own. One morning you wake up and the weight that used to live behind your ribs is simply gone. The ache that made you question your path feels irrelevant, dissolved without explanation. That's alignment, not an arrival, but an equalizing. The moment your energy stops arguing with what already is reality, rearranges itself around your stillness. You may think you made a decision, but truthfully, the decision made you. The shift happens in an instant. Your mind can't track one heartbeat, you're in resistance. The next heartbeat, you're free. Nothing outside changes first. The external world catches up later because alignment is an energetic command, not a logical step. It's like when two frequencies merge into one tone, the interference disappears, leaving only clarity. You don't force this, you fall into it. And when you do, everything that isn't in tune begins to move away, effortlessly, sometimes ruthlessly. The people, places, and plans that can't match your new vibration start to lose grip, not as punishment, but as physics. What no longer resonates cannot remain in orbit. The universe doesn't need your permission to rearrange. It responds to coherence. The moment your internal state stabilizes, your field sends out a new blueprint and matter follows instruction. That's why aligned action feels so clean. There's no mental debate, no proof to chase, no guilt to manage. You just know. The knowing doesn't shout. It hums steady, grounded, undeniable. You send the message, take the steps, say the no, follow the pull, and life reorganizes with uncanny precision. Emails arrive, doors open, friction fades. That's not magic, that's matching. The universe is a mirror that only reflects signal strength. When your broadcast is clear, reflection is instant. But alignment isn't about perfection, it's about honesty. The frequency that stabilizes your field isn't high-vibe positivity, it's truth. The moment you stop pretending, stop performing, stop adjusting your light to make others comfortable, your signal sharpens. Truth vibrates faster than fear, and once it dominates your field, distortion has no anchor. That's why honesty feels like freedom. It clears static from the channel. Alignment is simply your truth vibrating without resistance. When you live from that tone, synchronicities multiply. Time seems to fold around you. What used to require effort now unfolds in sequence, as if reality were listening in real time. Because it is. The universe doesn't respond to what you say, it responds to what you stabilize. Your thoughts are noise. Your vibration is the broadcast. So when alignment lands, don't rush to label it as luck or reward. It's recognition. The field recognized itself in you. You became an unbroken signal, and creation simply mirrored the frequency home. You'll know this moment because your body relaxes before your mind understands why. Breath deepens, shoulders drop, vision clears. The ache for confirmation disappears, replaced by quiet certainty. That is the sound of your reality locking into place. Don't overanalyze it, embody it. Move from it. Every step taken in alignment multiplies ease. You won't need signs anymore because you'll start being one. And when you live as the signal, the universe listens differently. It stops testing. It starts collaborating. So feel this equilibrium, this serene hum under your ribs. That's the moment everything you used to chase starts orbiting back toward you. And the only question left is when the universe begins to mirror your stability. Will you stay steady enough to hold it? Before you entered this lifetime, before language and memory, a silent contract was written between you and the field. It wasn't ink on paper, it was vibration, a coded agreement of what your energy came here to learn and how the universe would echo it back. Every challenge, every delay, every heartbreak was never random. They were signatures of that contract fulfilling itself. The universe doesn't test to judge you, it calibrates to see if you can hold what you've been asking for. Each time you reach for expansion, the field sends a reflection to measure your steadiness. That reflection often comes disguised as friction. A friend pulling away, an opportunity fading, a truth you didn't want to see. These aren't punishments, they're check-ins. The system is asking, can you stay clear even when comfort leaves? Every emotional storm, every sudden pause is feedback about frequency, not failure. When you react with fear, the loop renews. When you stay centered, the loop completes. The contract never cared about outcomes, it's only ever measured vibration. That's why the same lesson keeps returning until it meets neutrality. The moment you stop chasing proof, the universe stops sending mirrors that demand it. Because the purpose of every test is to dissolve the need for more tests. The universe doesn't push you to suffer, it invites you to stabilize. You're not being tested for worthiness, you're being reminded of capacity. Think of it as a trust exercise with the infinite. The moment you hold peace under pressure, the pattern releases. That's why old triggers start to lose their charge. The conversations that used to drain you now pass through like gentle wind. That's mastery, not resistance, but absorption. You've embodied the lesson so deeply that it no longer needs to appear outside you. The contract was never about surviving chaos. It was about remembering who you are in the middle of it. Once the universe confirms that remembrance, the lessons stop looping. What follows is flow, not reward, but resonance. Everything begins moving in symmetry because the field no longer needs to correct your course. You've become self-regulating, yet most people panic when peace arrives. They think something's missing. It's too quiet. That's the old programming, the addiction to turbulence mistaken for meaning. But peace is not the absence of life. It's the foundation of alignment. It's the universe's way of saying you kept your promise. Because your contract was never about proving anything. It was about returning to coherence after forgetting. Every test was a reminder that clarity is your natural state, not a destination. You don't need to earn it. You only need to stop interrupting it. When you finally hold that understanding, the universe retires the old curriculum. The friction fades, the loops dissolve, you graduate into creation. The hidden contract fulfilled itself the moment you trusted the silence more than the noise. And that's why this message will not be repeated. The agreement is closing in your favor. You've proven you can hold your own frequency without external validation. The system doesn't need to test you anymore. It can now collaborate with you. So when things start moving smoothly again, don't doubt it. That's not calm before a storm. That's calm as the new normal. You're no longer in training. You're transmitting. The universe has confirmed readiness, and the next level begins. Not with a struggle, but with a signal. The quiet one that says, "Welcome home." And if you can sense that signal now, the next part is already unfolding. The message has been delivered, but the delivery has just begun. There are messages the universe only sends once because the moment you truly receive them, they dissolve. They aren't meant to be collected, replayed, or turned into mantras. They are transmissions, energetic bridges that vanish the instant you cross. This is one of them. You can feel it, can't you? That subtle awareness that something inside you is rearranging as you listen. The words are only a vehicle. The real communication is happening beneath language, inside the vibration that touches the space behind your ribs. That's the frequency of recognition. Once it lands, it doesn't need to repeat. A quantum truth never echoes twice because echo exists only in separation. When you merge with the signal, repetition becomes impossible. That's why the universe feels silent after a revelation. It isn't withholding. It's integrating. The message becomes cellular. It moves from thought to tissue, from idea to instinct. You start living what you used to search for. Every reaction softens. Every question simplifies. You no longer look for signs because you've become one. The field doesn't need to speak loudly when you're fluent in its tone. You begin to act differently without effort. Choices that once required courage now feel natural, almost automatic. That's the mark of absorption, knowledge transforming into being. The old you would chase meaning. The new you radiates it. The transmission is complete when the seeking stops. Imagine light entering a prism. When it hits the right angle, it stops scattering. It becomes clarity. That's you right now, stabilizing into coherence. You might notice an urge to replay this message, to capture it, to memorize every sentence. Don't. The moment you grasp for it, you drop back into separation. Let it fade. Let it sink into the quiet that follows. That silence is proof it worked. The absence of noise means the code has installed itself. You won't need to remember. You'll recognize. Recognition is faster than memory because it bypasses thought. The universe communicates this way to ensure you move from knowing to embodiment without interference. Once the transmission completes, the words lose weight, but the energy remains. That's why old advice feels empty after real transformation. It was designed to expire once you understood. The same will happen here. Tomorrow these sentences might feel distant, as if you dreamed them. That's perfect. It means the message has gone where it was meant to, beneath awareness, into rhythm. You are carrying the vibration now, and like any living frequency, it will express itself through your choices. You'll notice subtle differences: peace arriving faster, overthinking dissolving sooner, intuition speaking clearer. Don't analyze it, allow it. The message fulfilled itself by turning into movement. The universe doesn't repeat, it repatterns. Each realization replaces the need for reminders. What once felt external becomes internal navigation. You won't need to ask, "What's my next step?" because your body will move before your mind forms the question. That's embodiment, the message becoming muscle. The transmission's gift is its disappearance. It leaves no echo because it no longer needs to. And now, as this vibration settles, something new begins forming in its wake. A deeper stillness, a wider clarity. The universe is quiet because it's listening for your reply. That's the sacred rhythm. Receive, Integrate, transmit. You've received. You're integrating now, which means only one thing remains to answer. And that response, that act of creation born from silence, is what we step into next. When the universe finishes speaking, there is a kind of silence that hums. It isn't empty. It vibrates with new coordinates. That is where you are now, standing inside the echo that isn't an echo but the afterglow of transmission. You're no longer listening to the message. You are the message. The frequency you carry now is the reply the universe was waiting for. This is what embodiment feels like, a calm so clean that movement happens without command. The mind still tries to analyze, was that real? Did I imagine it? But the body already knows. You breathe differently. Time stretches differently. What once triggered defense now meets neutrality. That neutrality is your proof of upgrade. You're broadcasting from a stable signal, one that doesn't chase, doesn't plead, doesn't prove. It simply emits. The universe has always been a feedback loop. It mirrors whatever signal reaches it with the most coherence. When your vibration steadies, the reflection becomes immediate. That's why lately things seem to align faster. Coincidences cluster tighter, reality rearranges around your smallest honest thought. You're in creative sync now. You speak less, but everything responds more. The moment you think with clarity, the field begins constructing circumstances to match. That's not manifesting as you once understood it. It's translation. Energy turning into form at the speed of alignment. There's no need for rituals, no desperate affirmations. The new frequency is self-sustaining. It feeds on honesty, rest, and presence. Every lie you drop becomes fuel. Every truth you allow becomes structure. That's the architecture of this new system. You're not being tested anymore because there's nothing left to test. The contract fulfilled itself. You've graduated from learning through contrast to creating through clarity. Now your work is maintenance, gentle awareness, small corrections, consistent truth. When friction appears, it's not failure. It's feedback. Adjust, realign, return to signal. That's mastery, not perfection, but responsiveness. You'll know you're maintaining the new frequency when peace no longer feels boring, when silence feels full, when doing less feels powerful. That's the real abundance space that multiplies results. You've stepped into that field, and the universe, having completed its message, now mirrors your steadiness with opportunities, people, and timelines that share your tone. Welcome to Resonance. This is not the end of the story, it's the beginning of self-navigation. You are no longer the student waiting for signs, you are the transmitter generating them. Your energy teaches now. Every decision broadcasts a lesson louder than words ever could. So move gently with intention, because the field listens instantly. Every thought is instruction, every act is prayer, and every pause is power. You don't need to chase the next revelation, you'll attract it naturally by holding the last one well. That's how timelines stack, one stable signal at a time. The message you heard today will never be repeated, but it will keep living through you, through every clear yes, every honest no, every breath you take without resistance. That's the new language between you and creation. And if you felt the shift even slightly, the universe just received your answer. The transmission is complete. Now pause. Feel the quiet. That's not the end of the message, it's the beginning of yours. If this resonated, write one line in the comments that your soul heard the loudest. That's your confirmation. That's your frequency speaking back. In the next video, we'll explore how to stabilize this new vibration so the world bends with you, not against you. Stay tuned, stay clear, and remember, the universe never repeats what you've already become.